Yeah, you didn't choose procrastination. Procrastination chose you at birth. Let's be honest, you've been running behind on existence since day one. You're not watching this to fix it. You're here to feel better about it. Because nothing comforts a procrastinator like hearing that every phase of your life has been one big "I'll get to it later." So today, let's do what you've been putting off for years. Let's take a hard look at your entire life, from the womb to the tomb to the awkward after party. Because you didn't just become a procrastinator. You've been a procrastinator your whole damn life. After winning the sperm race, you'd think you'd be eager to get started. But no, you took your sweet time. 9 months in the womb, and even then, you were fashionably late. Your mom's contractions started, and you thought, hey, 5 more minutes. The doctor said, push, and you replied, let's not rush things. When you finally decided to make your grand entrance, you did it with all the enthusiasm of someone hitting the snooze button. The nurse said, it's a boy, and you muttered, I'll confirm that later. From the very beginning, you were the embodiment of, I'll get to it eventually. While other babies were crying and kicking, you were contemplating the ceiling, wondering if now was the right time to start breathing. Your first words? Not mama or dada. It was later. Your first steps? You took them, then sat down and thought, walking is overrated. Even potty training was a negotiation. Why rush? Diapers are convenient. From the moment you were born, procrastination wasn't just a habit, it was your lifestyle. Even as a kid, you were a walking later. Your parents said, clean your room, and you cleaned one sock. Then got tired. You had 12 toys, played with none, just sat there deciding which one felt right spiritually. Homework? You didn't even start it. You just stared at it until it disintegrated under your procrastination aura. Bedtime? You suddenly remembered to pee, drink water, ask deep life questions, and start a full-blown shadow puppet show. Your favorite move? Yelling, I'm coming, while sitting perfectly still. You weren't a lazy kid. You were just creatively paused. Teenage you? Not lazy, just fully committed to delaying life. Homework? You looked at it, looked at the wall, then took a deep, exhausted sigh and went straight to bed for emotional recovery. You had 3 weeks to prepare for the exam. So naturally, you started the night before, armed with one pencil and pure raw hope. Shorties? Oh, you had a plan. Play dead. You pretended to be asleep so hard, even your brain started to believe it. Your room? A level 5 disaster zone. But you told yourself, I'm just not emotionally ready to clean it. Which, honestly, sounded valid at the time. You weren't irresponsible. You were a highly motivated dreamer, operating with zero follow-through. College was your procrastination Olympics. And you? Gold medalist. Assignments were given weeks in advance. You started them. At the very last minute, fueled by caffeine and blind hope. Your group projects? You showed up once, nodded a lot, then vanished like a magician. Studying was just staring at a textbook until your brain filed for bankruptcy. Laundry? You waited until your last outfit looked like a Halloween costume made of desperation. You pulled all-nighters not to finish work, but to start it dramatically, while snacking like it was a survival show. Even going to class was a gamble. Every morning was a negotiation between you and your bed usually won. And textbooks? You didn't open them. You used them as coasters. Or pillows. Sometimes both. College didn't make you smarter. It made you better at pretending everything was under control while internally screaming. Then you entered the workforce and instantly mastered the art of looking busy while doing absolutely nothing. You stared at your tasks like they'd complete themselves through intimidation. I like work. It fascinates me. I can sit and look at it for hours. You had a whole week to finish a simple report. You started at the very last minute, on principle. If it weren't for the last minute, I wouldn't get anything done. You once delayed a 5-minute task for 4 days. Why? Hard work pays off later. Laziness pays off now. And you believed in living in the moment. Every day at the office felt like a motivational poster in reverse. I'll never put off until tomorrow what you can do the day after tomorrow. You weren't behind schedule, you were just early for next month. Every time a task felt slightly annoying, you'd pause and think, if something's hard to do, then what's the point? You had calendars, schedules, plans. But deep down, you knew the dates on this calendar are closer than they appear. Meetings became your escape pod. You didn't contribute, you just nodded until it ended. Then celebrated surviving with a snack and a slow walk to nowhere. You weren't lazy. You were just consistently committed to not doing the thing you were supposed to do. Anyone can do any amount of work, as long as it's not the work they're supposed to be doing. And when guilt finally crept in, you read a quote about procrastination, nodded, and did nothing. The worst form of procrastination is reading a procrastination quote, feeling the guilt and not doing anything about it. So you didn't conquer your job, but you definitely conquered avoiding it. Relationships? Oh, you brought procrastination right into your love life. You didn't fall in love, you stalled in love. Texting back? You waited so long they found someone else, got married, had a baby, and you're still sitting there thinking, should I say hey or yo? You didn't ghost anyone. You just procrastinated so hard it legally counted as ghosting. Date night? You promised dinner at 7. You showed up at 9 with fries and zero shame. Better late than faithful. Every argument started like this. We need to talk. You, absolutely, give me a few business days. Saying I love you? You rehearsed it in the mirror for 3 months, then finally whispered it at a weird moment like, pass the ketchup, also, I love you. Anniversary gift? You had plans. Big plans. Pinterest boards, mental notes, full vision. You ended up buying a gas station flower on the way there. You weren't toxic. You were just romantically delayed. You weren't emotionally unavailable. You were emotionally stuck in traffic. Then you got married. The beautiful union of two people and a third wheel called, we'll do it later. The wedding vows were real. The we should sit down and budget together part? Still pending approval. You didn't argue over serious things. You argued over who's going to finally call the plumber. And somehow, both of you lost. That photo wall you wanted to hang up? Still on the floor. In the box. Protected by dust and good intentions. Every couple has a to-do list. Yours? A to-not-today list. Romantic surprises? You had plans. Big plans. First, surprise dinner. Then, surprise flowers. In the end, surprise nothing. You didn't forget the anniversary. You remembered. You just waited to see if they forgot first. Checkmate. You both promised to communicate better. You even scheduled a talk about communication, rescheduled it 3 times. Marriage didn't stop your procrastination. It gave you a partner to help justify it. Then you had kids. Little bundles of joy and unlimited excuses to procrastinate even harder. Diaper full? You gave it 5 more minutes, because sometimes hope is a strategy. Your kid's school project was due tomorrow. You found out tonight, at bedtime. And now your whole family is awake making a volcano out of foil and lies. You said, we should organize the toys. Instead, you just shove them all into one giant bin and call it creative storage. You promised yourself you'd read bedtime stories every night. By the second week, bedtime stories became, all right, close your eyes, the end. Every weekend you told yourself, this is the weekend we'll finally plan that family trip. It's been 3 years. The only trip you took was to the fridge. Your kids' first words? Probably later. Wonder where they learned that. Parenting didn't break your procrastination. It passed it on genetically. And then you got old. Wiser? Maybe. Faster? Absolutely not. You had retirement plans. Big ones. World travel, hobbies, maybe write that book. You're still thinking about it. Your bucket list? More like a maybe one-day list. Still sitting there. Bucket completely empty but very well decorated. Your will? Not written. You said, I'll do it next year when I have more time. Buddy, you are the next year. You promised to finally eat healthy. Started every morning with, tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm serious. Even your last words might be, give me a sec. And when death finally knocks, you'll probably yell from the couch, coming, but never get up. Because in the end, you didn't fear death. You just kept putting it off. The only thing you did consistently from birth to grave? Delay, like a legend. And just when you thought life was done, surprise, you carried your procrastination straight into the afterlife. You didn't cross over peacefully. You wandered around the exit sign for 3 days thinking, I should probably deal with this soon. They told you, follow the light. You replied, yeah, but what's the rush? Even in the afterlife, you're still telling everyone, I'm just waiting for the right moment. The other souls moved on. You're still hanging around the lobby in sweatpants, holding a half-finished cup of celestial tea. Reincarnation? Forms were due last week. You were going to fill them out right after your ghost nap. You got assigned to haunt a house. You were excited at first, had big haunting dreams. You even drafted a spooky schedule. But every night you're just floating around like, hey, I'll rattle the chains tomorrow. Your unfinished business? Yeah, still unfinished. Now it's just awkward. Even your ghost coworkers are like, dude, are you ever going to start haunting? And you're like, I'm in my planning phase. You're not trapped between worlds. You're just procrastinating your eternal destiny. The angels stopped reminding you. The demons gave up waiting. Your spirit guide left a sticky note. Whenever you're ready, no pressure, because some souls find peace. Some find redemption. But you found a way to stall forever.